There is a lot of things that you need to consider when you are about to return to work after having a child. So, my name is Teresa. Welcome to my feed. And today I just want to talk about the challenges that I've been facing when it comes to returning to work. And I feel like it's an important information to share for those of you single moms out there that are thinking about returning to work and some of the challenges that I'm facing right now, and just some tips that I can give you in regards to it. So, right now, my daughter started daycare. She's 7 months old, going to be 8 months old soon. So, she started daycare at the beginning of this month. The reason I put her to daycare is because I was looking into returning to work because, my house is a single income household. So, I don't really have the option of staying home like for a long period of time. Ideally, I would like to stay with her for at least 2 years, but these bills has to be paid. So if you're in the same situation as me and you do have a little one that you're taking care of full time by yourself, and you are, at the end of your mat leave and thinking about going to work, these are some of the challenges that I have faced myself when it comes to this. So basically, when I used to work before, I used to have open availability at the agency I was working for. So I can work days, I can work nights. Like I was very, very flexible. But when you have a child, your flexibility is not as wide as before. So most daycares, I don't know if it's different for any other provinces out there, but in speaking specifically about where I'm staying in Alberta, most daycares they close at 5 or 6 p.m. So I'm limited, and it opens at 7 p.m. I mean 7 a.m. and it closes at 5 p.m. for my daughter. So I'm limited to only get a job that starts from the hours of 8 a.m. and it has to finish by 4 or 4:30 the latest, so that way I can pick up my child by 5 p.m. So this has actually made it really hard for me to find work. It made it hard for me to return to the previous work that I had before, just because the previous work that I had before was shift work. So I had to work about, like, 11 hours some days, 11 and a half, and then I would work 4 days, and then I would have 4 days off, right? But right now, I just like me trying to go back to that same job, I cannot do it. I can't do it anymore because why? Because I have a child that I can't be away for 11 and a half hours, 12 hours in a day, right? So my thing is like my mat leave is still on. I think I still have about 3 months. But when I started thinking about how am I gonna go back to work with the limited availability that I have, I started thinking about, I should start looking right now because the worst case scenario is me waiting until the end of mat leave and then trying to find work when the mat leave is already done, right? So if you are a single mom right now and you have a little one, and you, let's say if you're on mat leave or in your some kind of like income support that has like a time limit, the best advice I can give you is start looking at least 3 months before your mat leave is done. Especially if you know that your job that you're going to is not gonna work with daycare hours. Because technically the previous job that you had before, they're not gonna, depending on the industry, I don't know about all the industry, but the industry that I'm in, they're not able to work around my hours. So the needed hours are basically, if I want to go back, like I still have the option to go back full time. This is like the worst part about it, is that I can go back as a full-time staff if I want to. However, if I were to go as a full-time staff, they can only offer me the same position and the same hours as before. Like there's no other hours or any adjustments that they can make, which then limits me to, then obviously then I can't go back to that job because I cannot work 12 hours a day, 4 days on, 4 days off. There's no consistency. It's shift work. And it's just very unfortunate that now once I started thinking about it, like, that's why I'm starting for work now. That's why I put her into daycare so soon. So that way I can find something that works around the daycare hours. So that is the struggle that I'm going through right now. It's just like it's so hard to return back to work when you are a single parent that has to provide full time for your child and also pay the bills and do it all on your own. Like, it's so difficult to do it by yourself. So if you're doing it by yourself right now, or if you've already found a way to go to work and take care of your child full time, like, great. Like, that, you are like a superwoman, you know. I wish to get to that place soon, because I do need to get to that place where I am taking care of her as well as going to work and paying the bills and taking care of all of her expenses. Especially these formulas. These formulas are so expensive. Like, the formula be breaking my bank for real. And my daughter now drinks so much milk. And now I have to buy like double the amount, because I have to leave some at the daycare and some at home. So instead of buying like one container a week, now I have to buy 2 containers at a time, one to stay at the daycare and one to stay at the home. And not to mention, EI does not pay you that much. Like, I cannot wait to get off EI, like, for the mat leave, because the 55% that they're offering or whatever is not enough. It is not enough, especially with how the economy is right now. They need to increase that stuff. They need to increase it, because it's not enough money to take care of the bills with how high rent is, how high electricity is. Then I gotta pay internet, my phone bill, my car bill, you know, my insurance, all of that, food, formula, you know, baby clothes. Like, there is a lot of things to pay, and I'm just sitting here like, I need to go back to work, because this money is not moneying like how it's supposed to money. Like, I don't know if that's a word, but that is my advice to you. So if you're on mat leave right now, and I suggest looking into daycare hours. It depends. If you're lucky, if you're working like one of those business jobs where it's an 8 to 4 type of job, most likely you're not going to have a lot of issues, because a lot of daycares, they close around 5 or 6 p.m. So if your job is 8 to 4 before, then you're very lucky, because it is possible for you to go back to work. If it's Monday to Friday, you can put your child to daycare Monday to Friday, go to work, you know, at 8, finish at 4, then you're very lucky. But if you're working like one of those jobs where it's like a 24-hour facilities, like, I can't even go back, I can't do corrections, because corrections is the type of work where it's shift work. So it really sucks, because I have all these options, all these jobs that I can go to. I can do corrections, I can work at a treatment center, but all of them are those type of work that are open 24/7, and those are the ones that put you through shift work. So now I can't even do the type of career field that I have the knowledge and the ability to do, because of the hours. Yesterday I got a call from a job from an agency, actually, that I have been thinking about working with them for years, and they pay good money. Like, they pay like, you know, and it's a really good agency. I heard really good things about them. Like, the structure is really good, and I applied for it because they posted on their job description that they're looking for various shifts. So I was like, okay, various shift could mean that they can give me, like, you know, an 8 to 4 type of availability, like 5 days a week. So I got called for the screening yesterday. I was super excited to hear from them. Like, when she called and she was like, oh, I'm screening you for this, and I'm just like, oh my god, my resume went in and it went through, and they like me, you know. So I was really excited. So then it's one of those agencies, again, that they work 24/7. So then once I was like speaking to the recruiter, I ended up telling her, you know, my availability right now, because I did just have a child. The reason why I am not able to go back to my previous job is because it was shift work as a full-time. And then she was like, oh, okay. Well, sure. And then I told her, you know, it was like, you know, 11.5-hour shifts, which is something that I can no longer do. So that's why I'm looking for other options. So she tells me that, you know, that's like, their shift are not 12-hour shift, it's 8-hour shift, and it's like 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. However, this is the part that like really broke my heart. She said one of the shifts is an evening shift, and if I'm going to take this job as full-time, I do have to work that one evening shift. And then I was like, okay, if it falls on the weekend, I don't mind. Like, you know, I have open availability on the weekend. And then she tells me, no, like, that one evening shift is 3 to 11 p.m. And then my heart just shattered. And then I was just like, okay, well, I told her, like, it's unfortunately, I just cannot do any type of evening shifts when it comes to a weekday. But I am open for any type of weekend. Like, I just kept reminding her that weekend you can put me anywhere. But weekdays, I told her I have to pick up my daughter by 5 p.m. from daycare because that is when the daycare closes. So then she said, okay, maybe we can consider you then for casual, and that she's going to pass my resume off to the supervisor, and that she might call me next week. So now I'm just sitting at the edge of my seat waiting for next week and hoping at least they can give it to, if they give it to me as a casual, then I can pick up shifts when someone is calling sick, or pick up shifts when they have trainings going on. I don't know, but it's really challenging. So I'm just coming out here to let you guys know that returning to work after having a child, and if you're doing it by yourself as a single parent, is a challenge when it comes to returning to work, especially if your previous job goes beyond daycare hours. If that's the case in your case, my best advice to you is start looking like at least 3 months before your mat leave EI is done. Like, start looking early because you don't want to leave it until the end and then freak out at the end, especially if you don't have any type of like support coming from anywhere. My best advice is start looking before the end of your leave. So that's my situation right now. So yeah, I just wanted to come out here and just give you that teeny bit of advice about returning to work. So yeah. If you're not already following me, make sure you hit the subscription button below to subscribe. And you can also hit the notification button so that way anytime I put out new videos that you get notified about it. I appreciate you all out there. If you have any tips, tricks, if you have a job for me, actually, that's what I should say. If you have a job for me, please leave a comment and let me know. If your employer is hiring, I have a lot of skills. I can work in corrections. I can work in mental health. I can work in disabilities. I can work, in senior homes. I can do it. Like, I have all the skills. Admin, you name it. As long as you give me something between the hours of 8 to 4, Monday to Friday, I am available and I am ready to work ASAP. So, yes. So, this is, I'm just putting it out there. So, leave a comment if you got a job for me. I'm ready to work. Let me know. Let me know. Okay?